Hey there, welcome to this episode of Author Success Show. The special guest we have today is Adriana Monique Alvarez. Adriana is the CEO and founder of AMA Publishing, where she teaches women how to start highly profitable publishing companies. She's an international best-selling author and has been seen in Forbes, Huffington Post, International Living, Addicted to Success, Elephant Journal, Fox, ABC, and NBC. She mentors high level coaches, consultants, and service providers on how to start their own high earning global impact publishing houses. She's currently living in the middle of nowhere, Colorado, where she is renovating her grandparents' home and learning how to homestead with her husband Derek and two sons, Sam and Grant. Hey, Adriana, welcome to Author Success Show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
My pleasure. I think we connected a few months ago for the very first time. But ever since, I wanted to reconnect with you and ask you a lot more questions to basically improve my knowledge in the publishing industry. So it's an absolute pleasure that you've come on the show so that you can share it with our entire audience.
Absolutely. Let's just open it up to everyone and see what we can uncover.
Sure. So what's really unique about you, in my opinion, Adriana, is there are a lot of people in the publishing industry. Some people play the role of a book coach. Some people help others to become authors like what I do. But what you do is very different. You help other entrepreneurs to start their own publishing company, which I felt is completely unique. So how did that happen? Could you just take us back a few years and tell about your journey?
Sure. So I actually had got the idea to help my clients with their books because they always would share how they wanted to write a book. And then I noticed they were never finishing, they were never launching. And so I began to ask questions. It was one of those things I just couldn't look away. I needed to know why is this not getting finished? And as the time progressed, I just sort of took people through baby steps because I see publishing as a very daunting, intimidating process, right? Especially if you're just good at what you do and you don't know anything about the publishing industry, trying to learn a whole new industry is hard. And so I walked my clients through, helping them write for publications. And I helped them write an ebook or a lead magnet. And then it just sort of developed. And then I realized that most people were just not going to be ready to bite off an entire book. So I did collaboration books. And it was actually one of the ladies in my very first collaboration book. She just kept asking me questions. How does this work? How did you do this? Why did you do that? And she was always in my ear. She was always in my inbox. And I actually went to Australia. I met her. We went to dinner. And same thing. She's like, if you ever might consider teaching this. And at that time, that whole comment just flew through my ears because it wasn't even an idea. It was not a possibility for me. Well, you fast forward a year, the world had changed. I had just got here to my grandmother's house. And I just kept feeling like there's no way I can help all the authors that want help. In our first year, I helped 125 authors, and that felt like, whoo, we did a lot,
Yeah.
But I knew it was just like the tip of the iceberg. And right then I heard, multiply yourself, teach others how to do this. And so I went right back to Bridget and I said, hey, guess what? That thing you said, let's do it. Do you want me to teach you? And so I just reached out to 8 of my clients and I said, would you be interested in learning how to start your own publishing company? And they were my guinea pigs. I tested everything out on them. They all launched a book successfully. They all made money. And then I extended it out and created a certification.
Wow. That's such a fantastic journey, Adriana. And what I learned from this is when your clients tell you something, please listen to them and take action. And when many people say this repeatedly, I think that's like a divine signal. And I'm so glad you acted upon it.
It's true. If I look at everything we've ever done, it really was because our clients asked for it. I can't think of a single good idea that I got when I was just in a vacuum, in isolation, brainstorming for the next big idea. It's really not how it works. I think if we're in conversation with our people, with our audience and our clients, they're continuously showing us what the best ideas are.
Yeah, and I'm sure your clients are seeing a lot of value in starting their own publishing company. So I'm just curious to understand, how does the business model work? Because there is this traditional publishing houses, and then there are self-publishing agencies like mine, where we don't make money from the book sales, but out of delivering the service to the clients. But having your own publishing company and doing these multi-author books, so how does that work, and how do your clients actually make that money?
Good question. So I would say, part of being successful in publishing is having a willingness to do it differently. So however it's been done, right, can't be how we do it now. That's my personal mantra belief. Like, I'm going to die on that hill, because this is an industry that is ever evolving. And guess why? Because authors and entrepreneurs are demanding it, right? So what I teach my clients is that it might be challenging to open up a publishing house and immediately go for solo authors and say, hey, it's going to cost you $20,000 or $30,000 to work with me. That they might want to say, well, who else have you worked with? So what I teach my clients to do is to put together a collaboration book, put 20 or 30 women in, or, authors, can be men or women, have them each write a chapter, charge $1,000 to $3,000 per chapter. Then as you're going through the process, because you're right there with them, helping them write their chapter, guiding them on the launch, telling them what's next, if you're listening, they'll tell you what else they want. So I teach my clients how to offer an upsell. So for some of them, they're offering support when all that fear and anxiety pops up around sharing your story, when writer's block shows up. Sometimes it's more of the business development. Oh, you know what? I'm realizing now I need to have better offers, or I need to up my game. So I teach them how to have an upsell. So basically what I teach them is how they can profit $50,000 or more off of a collaboration book. And then after the launch, circle back and say, any of you want to write your own book? And then you can collect some solo authors, right? And just continuously doing this. And within the process, I teach them also the power of referrals. I tell them, if you sell out half of your book, your contributors can sell out the second half for you if you teach them how to do so. And so that's a big part of it too, because a lot of people in business, they literally get every sale they've ever had. I teach my clients how to train their people so that they can bring 50% of that in.
Yeah. This is such a, sensible business model, because you're not asking people to do something massive, something big. They are just starting with baby steps, and eventually they can build a beautiful business around what you're teaching. So my other question would be, Adriana, typically, what kind of people or entrepreneurs will be open about this? Because entrepreneurs are already busy, right? I understand that coaches are usually very receptive when it comes to writing a book, because they know the importance of writing a book. But does this model work for other types of entrepreneurs too?
Yes. So I would say the type that there's really like three main types. Okay. Entrepreneurs who are truly CEOs, they're always looking for additional streams of income.
Yeah.
So they are busy, but they're not going to turn away a good opportunity, right? So entrepreneurs who understand multiple streams of income, who also know, hey, I can put together a system. I actually don't have to manage every single thing. I could have a couple of people helping me, and this could be a cash cow. This could add, $100,000 to $500,000 more to my business every year, right? And they probably already have an audience. They're probably established and savvy. The second type that I found that really are drawn to this are the entrepreneurs that are more in that spiritual space, or self-discovery, personal development, and maybe they have actually struggled to find a way to monetize everything, right? So they might be yoga teachers, they might be Reiki masters, they might, be psychics, whatever it is. And they have had a hard time coming up with a concrete, tangible offer. And there's really nothing more tangible than a book, because your clients are literally going to hold it in their hands, right? And so I find with these people, when they bring in something very tangible, practical, everything else in their business, rises and elevates, because all of a sudden they can put words to what they really offer and how they support people. The third is actually, I had two. This is really a lie. The third one is not an entrepreneur. It's the person, though, who was in corporate or academia, and they know they cannot do that anymore. They are looking for a career shift, and they know that they don't have an entrepreneurial background. They don't have any experience. And so they do not want to take the 3 to 5 year bumpy road of figuring it out. How do you create offers and how do you price it? So they want like a franchise model. They want what I've set up. Hey, this is the system. It's proven it works. Step into it, do it a couple of times, then you can tweak it. Then you can break the rules and do it as you wish. Right. So those are the 3 main types.
Wow. I think you have absolute clarity, right? I think that's what is one of the secrets to your success, Adriana. You know exactly who are your clients. So that's really amazing as to how different types of people can benefit from this in their own unique ways. So other than, the academy where you're teaching this, you also still welcome authors who want to directly collaborate on a book project. And one of your USPs, which I've noticed, is that you either guarantee an Amazon bestseller or a USA Today bestseller. So I know I'm in the publishing industry, but a lot of authors who are first-time authors especially do not understand the difference between all these bestseller charts and how valuable they can be. So could you just tell us a little bit about why become a bestseller and what's the primary difference between an Amazon and a USA Today?
Good question. So the thing with becoming a best-selling author is this: it's like anything else. Some people, they go to college and they get letters behind their name. Some people, they go learn from the world's top mentors. Right. It's really about success by association, right? How you perceive me changes when I reveal certain aspects of myself. Becoming a best-selling author is exactly the same. You put that when you want to be on summits, podcasts, when you actually want to increase your prices, right? It's just another one of those a credibility, like this makes me have the authority and makes you trust me because I've actually taken some steps to create some accomplishments behind my name. Mm-hmm. Now, the different lists, this is really key. And what most people don't understand is that Amazon is, okay, it's the biggest platform for selling books. And this is a pure numbers game. Yeah. You rank based on numbers of sales, right? Download sales. It's pretty clean. You pick your categories, people buy, and we let the results speak for themselves. Yeah. USA Today is a similar type of list in that it's a pure numbers game. However, with USA Today, you have to beat out. So there's 150 on that list, and you have to be in the top 150 within this 7-day period, basically a Sunday to a Sunday, right? Mm. There are no categories. You're up against every book that's ever been, including the Bible and Harry Potter and all of them, right? Mm. So you really want to aim for like 7,000 or more sold copies during that week. That's really what you're going for, right? Now, Wall Street Journal and New York Times, those are not pure numbers. Those are sales plus a committee vote. Yeah. So what this means is that there is a group of people who determines if you get on the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times. So if you're a female, if you have an exotic last name like you and I, if you have politics that don't go with mainstream, you're not going to get voted. That I can pretty much say it doesn't matter how much you put behind a campaign. I know people who've put upwards of $800,000 toward a campaign and not been voted in by those two committees. So I like to play the numbers game because then my gender, my ethnicity, and my politics are not working against me.
Makes total sense, right? Yeah. So I think this is a clear distinction because it's better to put your effort in something that you know will give you results than just aim for something that's very arbitrary and is like 50% in the hands of somebody else.
Exactly. I like to say, you know what, if I know what it takes to succeed, and like you said, if I accomplish all of those things, then I get what I deserve. That's the game I want to play.
Right. The other thing I wanted to ask, especially with these collaboration projects, because when you're writing a book on your own, it's a very lonely thing, right? It's just you and your laptop. But now when you have to run this like a publishing company where every few months you're bringing together a different set of authors, does an author really need to be fantastic at networking and collaborating? How does a person who's an introvert, but who's an expert and who genuinely wants to serve people through their books, how do they break that mental barrier and get started on this journey?
It's a great question. And I will say I've seen the full spectrum, right? There's people who've come into our books and they have networked like crazy. They have collaborated. They are still getting clients off of that book. We still do stuff together. And there are people who turned in their chapter and that was it, right? And it's because of exactly what you talked about. Whether they're an introvert or an extrovert, it's really the conversation that's going on in their own mind that is holding them back, because really everything inside of us is designed to keep us safe. Just stay right where you are. Don't go too far out there, right? And so what I have experimented with so many things with our books, because basically how it works is if somebody comes within like 8 feet of me, I'm going to pull them into my vortex and they're going to learn the power of networking, collaboration. I'm going to introduce them to people. I'm going to push them, right? The number one thing my clients say about me, and this might not, sound like it's good for sales, is that I make them uncomfortable. But this is also what leads to the biggest results, right? I just did a session last week and some of my clients got on and talked about how they 10 times their business after they wrote a book, right? With us. Or how their life was completely different because they came out of that shell. So what I would say is, at the end of the day, it's a decision by the individual. However, we know that the people we choose to spend our time and energy with have a great impact on what the results are. So what I would say is, if you want to be in a collaboration book and you want it to explode your business and you want to practice networking and collaboration, make sure the person who's leading the project holds those as high values.
Exactly. I think that's a very good answer, Adriana. So one other question I keep getting asked, especially by people who are about to get published, is how many books should I sell to get the money back from this project? So do you get this question as well? And how do you answer?
I'll tell you what I say. I say, if you're worried about how much money you're going to make on book sales, you are not thinking big enough. Yeah. So this is actually something I discuss with people before I bring them on as clients, because what I have found is that I work really well with big thinkers and not so well with small thinkers, right? So if somebody is literally trying to calculate how they're going to make enough book sales to bring back their $30,000 investment with me, I know we're looking at the wrong end of this conversation. Right. So what I always do is when someone's interested in writing a book with us, what I ask them is this: what kind of offers do you have? And what are your price points? Because I need to know if your business can actually sustain a book, because your business actually has to invest in the book. That's just how it works, right? The business has to invest in PR. The business has to invest in coaching. The business has to invest in events. So what I ask people is, can your business actually, can it handle this type of investment? If they have very low offers, or they only work with 4 clients a year at $500, I say, well, you're not here yet. It's kind of like when my husband and I were at first dating. He wanted to get married. He wanted to move in. And I kept telling him, we're not there yet, right? There's a process, there's steps, and people love to skip steps because they want to leapfrog it. But what that does is create a lot of stress and financial hardship.
Right. Since you mentioned your husband, Adriana, I'm curious to ask, he also has his own business, right? So how do people work together?
So we have the same business. We have actually worked together every single day. It'll be 13 years in April. And so when we first got married, we started the business and we only had one rule. Okay. You're the boss of you and I'm the boss of me. I do what I'm good at. You do what you're good at. I don't tell him what to do. He doesn't tell me what to do. And we have literally no conflict in the business because I cannot do what he does and he cannot do what I do. And so we just let each other run, and we come together, and we know that we need both parts, but we don't meddle in what each other does.
This is such valuable advice, and I'm taking it for me because now I'm playing a more active role in my husband's relationship coaching business as well. And we don't want the business to sabotage our marriage. So I think this is something that I'm going to talk to him about. And how did you guys realize what are the areas that you're good at? So right now at AMA Publishing, which are the verticals that you handle and what are the other things that he does?
So I am awful with technology. Okay. Anything that requires computers, phones, websites, all of that. I, don't let me touch it. I'll blow it up. I'm not allowed to do any of that. So Derek is really good with that. He's a Capricorn. He's very systematic. He's very German. Everything has a plan and a system and it's very logical, right? So he's very good with that. He's very organized. I am very good with people. I'm good with sales. I'm good with ideas. I am the opposite of that. I'm this chaos personified excitement all day bouncing off the wall, right? So I take that energy in and I talk to people and I share my vision. I share my idea. Are you in? Are you out? Can you help me get where I want to go? And so that's what I focus on. And that's what I do all day.
Such a beautiful way to, balance things at work. One thing I instantly noticed about you the very first time we met, Adriana, is other than talking about business and numbers, you're very spiritually grounded. And I had the good fortune of attending one of your master classes. And you talk about how to attract these high-paying soul clients. And it was so powerful. And I've seen that other than how you're helping your clients in establishing their businesses, you have a lot of free resources as well as these mini courses on your website. And none of that is about only the publishing stuff, but you also talk about all these energy and vibration and all of that. So was that something that was there right from the beginning of your journey, or how did the spiritual side of you develop?
Yes. So that was there from the beginning. But the I would say first 6 or 7 years of business, I was in the closet with all that. So I didn't share that with anyone. Most of our clients were brick and mortar. They were navy blue pantsuit wearing, professionals. And I just thought if I mentioned any of that, they think I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and that I was concerned that they might think I was less suitable. I was less qualified. It was actually right after I had my boys and I heard you can't operate like this anymore, because what you're doing is you're actually denying part of yourself, right? And so anytime that we feel like we've got to compartmentalize, deny, or hide part of who we are losing part of our power. Right. And so I was terrified. I thought for sure this is the end of my business. I actually did a Facebook Live and I said, this are the things I do. I connect with my angels, my guides, my ancestors. I get right with myself first. I connect to where I came from. And then I connect with those that I'm here to serve. And all of a sudden, the opposite happened. People who had never worked with me, but sort of been watching and, liking and commenting, they were like, now I know I can trust you. Now I want to work with you. And it blew the business wide open. And really what I think it does when we allow ourselves to be completely ourselves is that other people want to stand closer to that, because every single one of us wants to fully embrace and accept who we are, exactly the way we are. And so sometimes people work with me and they don't really want the thing that they bought. They just want to come hang out because they want to be able to free themselves and be fully self-expressed.
Wow. I think my biggest takeaway is that I need to be fully expressive and completely own who I am and be open to share that with the world. So that I think that's what people see in you, right? It's otherwise every other publishing company is the same. But when they see the unique you, that's when the people who are meant to work with you will get attracted to your universe. So that's such a nice thing that you shared. And what would be a final word of advice, Adriana, to all those potential authors out there who aspire to write a book, but they somehow don't take the next step? Something is just stopping them and holding them back.
Yeah. The thing is that fear is a powerful force, right? And it can work both ways. We can be paralyzed and stuck and in this constant, getting better, figuring it out. I'm not there yet. So it can really put us in this place of paralysis. Or we can actually turn this fear around and go, you know what? The thing I'm most afraid of is living half of what I could have lived. I'm most afraid of not being the woman I came here to be. I'm most afraid that my children won't have something that outlives me. That's what I'm afraid of. And so fear is always going to be in the car, but we determine if we're in the driver's seat or it is, and we have to determine what price am I willing to pay for that fear? How can I actually channel this and use it for something good? Because if it doesn't propel me forward, it most definitely is holding me in place. So this is our opportunity to look at, who do we really want to be in this lifetime? You know, one of my favorite quotes, Robin Sharma says, even a long life is a relatively short ride.
That's
What
great.
are we going to do with it?
Very well said, Adriana. So where can people find out more about you and your work?
They can go to my full name. It's adrianamoniquealvarez.com or amaspeaks.com. Like you said, I've got lots of resources there and they can learn more about me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on Author Success Show.
Thank you for having me. It's been my pleasure.